So today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to try and decode a trading strategy, but not from some book or a course. Nope, we're going straight to the source, a trader's own handwritten playbook. Let's jump in.
And here it is. This is our source material for today. Now, at first glance, yeah, it just looks like a page of scribbled notes. But hidden in here is an entire system for trading the first 15 minutes of the market open. This trader calls it their morning setup. So our job here is to break this down, page by page, and really figure out the logic behind it all.
So that brings us to the big question, right? According to these notes, what is the secret to a winning morning setup? Well, as we're about to see, the answer is a really fascinating mix of some pretty hard rules and some very specific technical signals. What's so interesting to me is where these notes start. It's not with charts, it's not with indicators, it's all about mindset. Before a single trade is even on the table, this trader lays out the psychological rules of engagement. And here they are, the 4 non-negotiables. First up, never, ever add money to a losing position. 2. Don't fight the market's main trend. 3. Absolutely no trading based on fear or greed. And then there's my favorite, a simple but man is it a powerful reminder. Be patient and literally, just chill. These aren't just little tips. This is the bedrock the whole strategy is built on.
I love this little table in the notes. It just perfectly sums up the whole philosophy. See, for this trader, the technical stuff like support and resistance, that's just your compass. It's a tool. It gives you a general direction. But the true guide, the thing that actually gets you where you need to go, that's understanding the market trend and, maybe most importantly, understanding your own psychology.
So the big takeaway here is crystal clear. For this trader, your strategy is only ever as good as your mindset. Your psychology isn't just a part of the game, it is the game. It's your true north. Okay, so now let's see how this mindset supports the actual technical side of things. All right, so with that whole psychological framework locked in, the notes finally start to peel back the curtain on the core technical signal, what they literally call the single most important element for making a trade. And look, the notes literally say, the most important thing. I mean, when you see that, you know you've got to pay really close attention to what's coming next. This is obviously the heart of the entire technical strategy. And here we have it, one simple number, 50%. According to this entire playbook, if you can understand this one concept, you basically unlock the whole 15-minute morning trade. So, 50% of what exactly?
Well, the notes define it pretty clearly for us. It's the 50% level of the very first 15-minute candle of the day. You find that opening candle, you mark the exact halfway point, and that one line, that becomes your critical level for pretty much every decision you make after that.
And this drawing, which is pulled straight from the notes, it shows it perfectly. It doesn't matter if that first candle is bearish in red or bullish in green. You draw a line right smack dab in the middle. That 50% mark is now your line in the sand. It's the battlefield. And how the price acts around that line tells you what to do next. Okay, so we've got the mindset rules and we've got the key technical signal. Now let's see how the playbook actually puts them together in a real-world scenario that's laid out right here in the notes.
The trader gives us a very specific setup. Imagine the market is already in a clear downtrend, and then it opens with a pretty big gap down. See, a good strategy is all about context, and this is the exact context we're working with here.
So here's the play-by-play. Remember, we just gapped down. Now, if that first 15-minute candle turns out to be green, the notes say you should actually anticipate a move down. Now, that sounds totally backwards, right? But the idea is that this early buying is probably weak and is just going to get sold right back down. But, on the other hand, if that first candle is red, the expectation is for a pause, a sideways chop or a slow upward drift, which suggests the early selling has kind of run out of steam. So let's just pull this all together for a second. This whole playbook really comes down to 2 pillars that you just can't separate. On one side, you've got the mindset, your psychology, your patience, your discipline. And on the other, you've got the strategy, using that 50% rule to read the morning's price action. For this trader, one is absolutely useless without the other. And if we had to pick just one line from all of these notes that really wraps up the entire philosophy, it's got to be this one. We started with the rules and we're ending here. Because without this discipline, all those technical signals, no matter how clever they are, they just fall apart.
And that really leaves us with one final big question to think about, one that's inspired by these very personal notes. When you look at your own trading, how much of your strategy is actually about the chart, and how much of it is really about managing you? It's a really powerful question to ask yourself.